Welcome back to the reconstruction of the 1988 Honda MC19, also known as the CBR250R. I got some more parts, materials put inside the bike. The gas tank's pretty rusty, so I got some vinegar to leave in it for a couple of days after I take it off, and then that will kind of clear out the rust, and then I'll wash it out with some baking soda. The baking soda will act as a liner to counteract the vinegar. The whatever it's called, base of the baking soda will counter the acidity, and it will save me about $50 on buying a proper liner, and it will get the same job done. If I have time today, I've got some new motor oil, 10 weight 40, it's what the factory manual recommends. I also got an oil filter. The one that'll fit, it's a KN111. I'll leave a link to that in the description if you are looking to find a replacement filter for this bike. And without further ado, let me catch you up on where I've been doing so far. So, the manual, pretty simple, just says take off that bolt in the back, take off these two in the front, which are connected to, the front of the bike, and it will just come right off. Problem is, it's a sport bike, so of course the fairings had to come off. Not the entire right side as far as I know, but definitely the left side, just because I have this little thingabob right here. Also, make sure it's set to off. They made it really clear it needs to be set to off before you get this process going. So, with that, it's just a few bolts, right there. Where else? Right here. There was another one back here, so there's this piece right here where the back seat would kind of lock in. I just took it off on both sides so I could wiggle it free. And then you just kind of pry it a little bit. There's a bolt right here that I put back in place. As you can see on this side, it attaches right here, but you still need this bolt to hold the back of it in. So I'm just going to leave it right there so I don't forget about it. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to take the rest of the gas tank off and show you basically the process. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward of how to get some vinegar in there. Obviously, you don't want it to accidentally go into the engine itself, so you should do it while it's detached. I'm going to let it sit for 1, maybe 2 days. The rust really isn't that bad. I'm also going to take out this battery right here so I can get the exact dimensions. I want to try and get like a Shirai or some lithium-ion battery, just because this one's already dead and I feel like I should probably put a high-quality replacement in it. Something that I can let sit for a while. But I'll catch you as soon as I get that tank off. Alright, so a quick look at what's under the tank. There's a bunch of pieces. When I got it off, that rubber piece was already disconnected. I'm not sure if it just snapped when I took it off, or if it was already that way. I know Mason gave a more in-depth explanation in his video of what everything was and how it connected together. So I'm gonna have to go back to the manual and ask him what I need to do to get it put back together, and once I actually put some gas in this tank, I'll definitely make a video readdressing how it's supposed to look in this not broken, actually functional state. But that's what it looks like. Pretty simple. More rubber that needs to get replaced. As for those 3 bolts, just wanted to direct attention over here. So this one was the back bolt. It's a 12mm socket. These 2 front ones, they're fairly long, longer than I thought. It's an 8mm socket. What I also had to do is get an extension for my wrench, as well as an adapter, just because I didn't have the right original size here. Just because it was so deep tucked in, as you can see right here. The way this metal is just making like a bracket, you can't really fit your finger in there too well, and you definitely can't fit a wrench without an extension in there. Unless you just have maybe the right type of wrench. I just have a basic one. But one other thing I wanted to mention was the seat. So the most important piece to getting the tank off is to get the seat off, which was mounted kind of like this. And in order to get to the screw under here, I just had to pull this back. There's the screw. Put a screwdriver in it, unscrew it. Rinse and repeat for the other side. Take the seat off. Arguably, you didn't really have to take off this fairing right here. I did, again, because of that little knob. I just think it was going to be a lot easier than trying to pull the frame back and risk it cracking further, since it already is cracked up there. But I'm going to replace the fairing, so it doesn't matter a whole lot anyways. If you have fairings that you want to not replace, I'd recommend just taking it off. It's really easy. It takes 2 more minutes than it would if you just left it on, and you're not going to run the risk of cracking it. I'll get back into you when I get some vinegar in the gas tank, and we'll talk about what the procedure is going to be. Alright, so to seal up the bottom of the tank so the vinegar doesn't leak out over the course of the day or two that I'm going to have it just swooshing around in the tank, I just got some basic, you can get them at a grocery store, little snack bags, and then some rubber bands to tighten it to create a foolproof seal. Really simple, really cheap and easy. With this guy, it was really easy because it has this whole rubber mount that I can just put the rubber band, wrap it around, and over again. This guy was a little tougher, and I'm pretty sure this doesn't usually... I'm pretty sure it has an actual rubber piece, but again, it probably came off when I took the gas tank off, so I'm going to have to find some more OEM or OEM type fitment replacements. But for now, I was able to do the same procedure. Given that there's such little working room, it took a little more effort, but it does work, and all in all, it's a fix that costs like 50 cents. So I'd highly recommend doing that. Save yourself some money. There's no point in getting a special... I know they make like a rubber plug you can fit inside there, but functionally this is the same difference, and because it's just household vinegar, it's not like it's going to tear through the plastic over the course of 24 hours. So one thing I forgot to mention is that before you actually add your vinegar, you're going to want to take a hose and spray the inside of the gas tank. This is a really great way to get rid of a lot of the free-floating rust, as well as just any rust that's barely hanging on. It just equals less work for the vinegar to do later on, and it's good practice to have a pre-wash going. Another thing is I just use a funnel. It's pretty easy to get the vinegar going in there. It's a typical gas tank meant for any old petroleum pump that you'll find in the States. But I'd rather be safe than sorry. I don't want vinegar going on this gas tank, and that's more cleanup work later. And also, because it's at an angle, as you can see on the bike, it was meant to mount like this. You might have a pretty hard time getting it level. I just have it sitting on my leg right now. So I've got my hands on the camera, I've got the gas tank on my leg, and then when I put this down, I'm going to take some more vinegar and put it in, and easy as that. It takes about 4 gallons. It's actually like 3.7 gallons. So I went ahead and got maybe even 4.5 gallons or 3.5 gallons of vinegar. Just enough to make sure it's almost, if not completely, filled to the brim. Because I want that rust on the very top of this gas tank to be cleared out too. And I'm going to try and find a way to store it on a level surface, based on the gas tank standards, which might mean I need to find something other than a kneecap to put under it. I'll get back to you when I figure out how I'm going to do that, and we'll go from there. I might add the oil today because things are going pretty quick. Alright, a few quick updates before I wrap things up. I got that all situated. I can just put it on the top of my toolbox, and it's good as gold. I actually left it sitting at an angle, and I don't know if you can see, but a little bit of vinegar started leaking out of the top. So just something to be mindful of. A little bit of a safety concern as far as if you ever have gas in there and you leave it on its side. But you just get it on a level surface, it'll be perfectly fine. As far as changing the oil, I realize that there's not a whole lot of point in doing that if I can't get the bike started, because then I can't get the oil to actually flow through the whole system. But I did get the battery out. It was super simple, as any battery. It's a little rubber piece. You just take it off. Battery's out. This is the brand number. I'll try and get size dimensions in the video description as well, just in case you wanted to find maybe like a Shirai, which is what I want to do. So I got to make sure it fits in those dimensions, which I'm sure it will. It's just a very small battery to begin with. And then I figured I'll take a look at the air filter. And this is quite disgusting, to be perfectly honest. I don't think I'm going to be looking to clean it out. I think it's at the point where I just need to look around and see if I can find not a cheap filter, but not a dirty filter like this. So I'll keep you guys updated if I can find an OEM fitment one. KN is always my preferred option. China is always my least preferred option. So I'll try and find something in the middle.